You ever learn something and immediately wish you could go back in time and shake your younger self by the shoulders? Yeah, that was me. Domitius. I'm sitting there one afternoon, minding my own business, probably overthinking something completely unnecessary, like why remote controls disappear when you need them. And I stumble across this term, yo, long-term care, and I go, that sounds responsible. DemD, which is already suspicious because anything that sounds responsible usually ends up being expensive. To me, so I think, all right, Gary, let's be an adult for once. Let's look into it. See, now I had heard the term before. You know how you hear things your whole life, but never actually process them? Like eat healthy, or stretch before exercise, or don't read the comments section, same category. Ban in my head, long-term care was just something out there, like taxes or kale. Lange, you assume it exists, you assume someone else understands it, and you quietly hope it never becomes your problem. Dane. So naturally, I ignored it for years, because that's what we do. We say things like, I'll deal with that later, and later. Oh, later is very punctual. Later shows up early sometimes. So I start reading about it, and I realize this thing is not just one thing. Bend, it's help with daily activities, getting dressed, cooking, moving around, basically all the things I currently complain about doing, but one day might actually need help with. And that's when it salsas me, and that's when it hits me, oh, this is serious, not dramatic serious, not movie music serious, choir it serious. It's the kind where you just stop scrolling and stare at the wall for a second. Then I get to the costs, and let me tell you something. I didn't gasp, I didn't yell. I just leaned back in my chair like I had just been personally offended by a number. Like I'm looking at these figures thinking, is this for care? Or does it come with a small island and a personal chef named Roberto? Because these numbers, they're not small. Amandian. They're not medium. There maybe I should sit down before I read further numbers. And I was sitting down, so now I'm sitting there, staring at the screen, doing mental math like I suddenly became an accountant. Okay, if I save everything and never eat again, and maybe sell one kidney, no, wait, I might need that later. And the thought that keeps coming back is, no, why did nobody explain this earlier? I learned about compound interest. G and I learned how to write essays. I even learned how to play the recorder in school, which, by the way, has never once come up in real life. But this feels important. This feels like something that should have been mentioned somewhere between brush your teeth and don't trust strangers. And here's the part that really gets you. This isn't optional. You can delay buying a new phone. And you can delay cleaning the garage. You cannot exactly delay needing help when you need help. Blend Life doesn't send you a calendar invite that says, hey, Gary, just a heads up, in 3 years you're going to need assistance tying your shoes. Prepare accordingly. No, it just shows up unannounced. Ben like a relative who says they'll stay for 2 days and ends up staying 2 weeks. So now I'm thinking, I planned for things, savings, check, bills, managed, retirement. Kind of. We'll call it optimistic. But this feels like one of those hidden levels in a video game. Nobody tells you it's there, and suddenly you're in it, underprepared, with low health and no instructions. Jane, at one point I actually laughed, not because it was funny, but because what else are you going to do? bend. I thought, Gary, you really thought you had it all figured out. That's adorable. But here's where it shifts. Signed after the initial shock, after the staring, after the brief moment where I considered moving to a mountain and living off the land, which would last approximately 6 hours. And I realized something. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Just knowing this exists changes how you think. Albeit, you don't have to solve everything today. You just have to stop pretending it's not there. And so I started doing small things, learning a little, thinking a little, even talking about it, which, by the way, is awkward. Nothing livens up a conversation like, oh no, hey, what are your thoughts on future care needs and financial planning? Gens, people love that, really gets the party going, but still it matters because clarity is better than surprise. And surprises are great for birthdays, not so much for life-altering expenses. So no, I don't have all the answers. I'm still figuring it out, still learning, am still occasionally staring at numbers like they personally insulted me, but now, at least I know the question. And sometimes, that's the moment things start to change. Also, I'm still not learning the recorder again. Some lessons can stay in the past. If you made it this far, you're officially part of Gary's circle now. No experts, no perfect plans, just Gary, figuring things out one surprise at a time. See you next time.